Hello. I have a new microphone. Hopefully, the sound is better. I am working on making the lighting better. I'm going to be moving around my setup. So this is probably the last time you will see this particular background. You will see more of what is over here once I move everything around. But that takes effort, and I don't want to spend my weekend doing it. So it probably won't happen until the next time I make one of these videos. So it'll be no time for you all. But for me, several days will pass. Anyway, I bought a whole bunch of stuff, basically a full face worth of stuff from About Face when they had their 40% off sale a week or two ago. And so I thought I would do a whole face of About Face with what I bought. It might be a little weird of a face since I didn't really buy them to necessarily go together, but I do have almost everything I would need for a full face. I do not have mascara. I didn't buy a mascara, but I've got concealer. Well, I've got foundation, concealer, eye products, cheek products, and lip products. So I did not buy a contour. I did buy a brow thing. And so I have brow, eyeliner, eyeshadow, blush, lip liner, lip gloss, foundation, concealer. Okay. So starting out with foundation, I have already done skin prep, which is just toner, moisturizer, SPF. And so here is the foundation. Here's the thing. This is a little dark for me. When this foundation first came out, I bought it. And in neutral, they have Fair 1 neutral. Let me look at this. Yeah, they have F1 neutral. Of every other shade, there's an F1 and an F2, but not of neutral. And so the F1 shade is like, I don't know, the lightest shade that they have, and it is too light for me. So the next neutral shade is this one, which is light one. The concealer, I bought the Fair one, and you can see, I mean, concealer is usually lighter, but it's almost white. So I'm hoping that by using the foundation that's a little dark and the concealer that is too light, that it will work together and balance out and be the right shade. I just knew, since I had it before and I got rid of it because it was too light, that the F1 shade was too light for a foundation. So that also, it's summer and I don't really get sun, but if there's a time that my skin is going to be a little deeper than usual, it would be this time of year. So that's also why I got the light one instead of the F1. Well, I know that F1 doesn't work, so we're trying light one, and it is too dark. And here is the concealer that is F1. There's just so much space between these two. Why can't we have an F2? Anyway, they have tons of shades. I realize that this is a unique me problem. But the cool ones look too pink. There's an olive one. It looks green. So I just went with light one. So it's a big giant doe foot. As I recall, this foundation is buildable coverage. I'd say medium, somewhat dewy. We shall see if I remember correctly. I mean, looking at it there, it's not too bad. So maybe this will be fine. Okay, it's a little dark, But I don't think that's really that bad there. I think this was a smarter move than the lighter one. It does look pretty radiant. Doesn't feel dry. I don't know. I feel like it looks good, but not great. I don't like it more than my NARS light reflecting foundation. This is much more reasonably priced than that is. I just think perhaps some of my misgivings, that's weird. It's pilling a little bit. That's not great. Are really more about that the color is a little off, and so it doesn't quite look right to me. It looks really radiant in this light. When I look in my mirror, which is visible low here, it doesn't look nearly as radiant as it does. And I'm sure that that's like light related. I think you get an idea. I'm going to try adding some concealer. I do feel like I have some redness still that was showing through. So I'm going to put some concealer there. Now I'm just going to use the concealer. I'm not going to use anything else, so that way I can get an idea of the products just on their own, not with how they perform with other things. So I do feel like I am getting a lot more like texture in here than when I use my more like my Refi concealer or my matte concealer. And I don't really know if that is the concealer or the foundation or the combo of the two. It doesn't look horrible, but normally after I put my makeup on, it's kind of the best that it's gonna look. And I'm already getting a lot of like going into the lines and making them seem more prominent. So I feel like it's not really red, but there's like, it almost looks like I have some discoloration here. It just, I have things that work better than this, which is a bummer because I was really hoping that I had heard such good things about this foundation and the concealer, about how it's something that is more moderately priced, especially when it's 40% off, but performs like a more prestige brand. And maybe it does if you're 25 or 30, but at 50, it's not, this is not what I would prefer to have, the look that I want. I will pay more to have a better disguising of my, I don't want my makeup to accent my wrinkles, like make them more noticeable. I wear makeup in part to kind of, I don't know, hide those things. Not really hide, but make them less noticeable. And I feel like this has made them more noticeable. I am going to powder and see if that helps. Again, this is not the About Face powder. Normally I would not powder yet because I don't think I'm done with creams, but I just wanted to see if that helps. Again, nothing looks horrible. It just normally looks better than this. Okay, I did not buy a bronzer from them because the shades didn't look great. So I'm not going to use a bronzer today, but I am going to use a little bit of a cream blush just to kind of give me some, and it's the, well, I mean, I guess it's a contour, but I'm using it kind of like a blush. The Westman Atelier in Toast. It's a nice accent color for me just to kind of give things some depth. So I'm going to do that a little bit because the blush I have is very bright and translucent. And so I feel like if I have some depth put in, it will help. Okay. Now, the blush that I got is a liquid blush. Here you go. So it's pink. And it's fluid blush in Hot Lap. It is this pink, but it shears out really well. I have tried all of these things at least once before. The foundation I only tried once and wasn't super thrilled with it. And so then I kind of set it aside until I could do this review. And I was hoping that maybe with better skin prep, it would work better today. But I'm really not liking the under the eye area. And I got plenty of sleep last night, so there's really no reason it should look worse than normal other than the product. Okay, but I've been using this blush and I have found that it works fine to put directly on the face. Like I said, it's pretty bright and it is a blue pink. Perhaps I should have used less. We will fix it in a little bit, but I at least want it to look equal, so I'm going to do 2 dots, even though I probably shouldn't have done 2 dots. So you can't tell, but I think this is a little less pigmented. Oh, this is better. I just must have had a big dot on that side. Okay, this is too much. This, once my redness goes down from me pushing on it, I think is kind of the look that I'm wanting. Because I'm wanting a blushy look. Like, you don't use a blush like this and not want like a punchy blush. But I really like how that works out. So it is not as pigmented as the Rare Beauty. It also is a little bit more translucent than the Rare Beauties. Like there's not as much like white base in there. So that's part of why I put the toast on first, so that this wouldn't look just like a filter over my skin. I wanted it to look a little bit more integrated. And I mean, I like how that worked out. This is too much. Okay, there we go. I think that worked. Just using a Kleenex to just kind of wipe off a little bit. And then I went back over it with the same brush that I put the blush on with. Just so that there would still be that same finish there. That's kind of the look that I'm wanting. Like punchy, but not like I'm a clown. This product, great. Fantastic product. Probably will last me a really long time because I only need to use like 2 small dollops of it. Like that. Far more than I expected to like it. Also, I find, so I think the product that is probably the most similar to is the Huda Beauty blushes, which I have I think it's Cotton Candy, one of those. This is brighter than that Cotton Candy color. I can't wear many of the Huda ones. They're just too bright or deep for my really pale skin. They have a beautiful finish, but there just aren't a lot of color options for me. The one that I have bought other colors other than Cotton Candy, and it looks like paint on my face. It doesn't look like something that belongs there. About Face has fewer colors, but this is one of the brighter colors and it works. So it makes me think that maybe there's some additional options there. So I'm interested to try other colors. I really do like that formula. For eyes, I have kind of two things that are not meant to be used together, but neither of them works great on their own, but together they work pretty well. So we've got the Shimmerstick, which is a crayon and eyeshadow stick, and I don't really know when you use the crayon because it is the exact same color as the shadow stick, but so the shadow stick, it's one of these situations where it's like a spongy applicator and there's shadow in here. And so you go like that and it then shows up on the applicator. And this shadow is a very pretty color. I'll show you. And it is very sparkly. It's like a grayish color. I don't know that it's picking up the sparkle at all, but it is sparkly and pretty without being something that you couldn't wear during the day. The sparkles are kind of like a champagne color, so then that's really nice because you have this grayish shadow with a slightly warm sparkle, and so that makes it very neutral having both of those. It's like a super light taupe. But the problem is that here is the crayon, which is basically the same color, but it shears out. And so you can't get depth just from these two things because they're too similar. And I think I've mentioned this before. Eyeshadow crayons just don't, for the most part, don't work on me. Like they're supposed to last forever, and for many people they do. But any shimmer that's there, unless it's the Ilia one, just vanishes. And my eyes like soak up the color. I don't know what the deal is. Oh, I was going to prime my eyelids with one of the MAC multi-sculpts in Painterly just to give me like a base. So let me do that real fast. Okay. Yeah, if I hadn't told you I was going to do that, you probably wouldn't notice anything differently. It just is, I mean, it's basically the color of my skin, but gives a nice canvas and will ensure that everything lasts well today. Now the blush is kind of fading a little bit. Interesting. Okay. So then this other stick is the Smokestick. So it's got a black, and I don't know what this is. It's not really an eyeshadow, and it's way too big to be a liner. It shears out too. So there you go. It's black, but you can make it look messy. It doesn't shear out, like it gets patchy when you shear it. So I don't really know what that's for either, because if you put it like right on your lash line and then smoke it out, it's gonna look patchy. So I'm probably not gonna use that either. But the other side has a shadow that is the same setup as the one on the other one with the thing. And this is just it's like this color gray. So it's a deeper gray. And I will put it down to than this one. So, and it has no sparkle to it, which is perfect for a crease color, because really I just want to create some shadow, since I have hooded eyes. So I put this one down first, this Smoke Show. Oh, and this colorway is Smoking Gun. It's the gray one. Yeah, I know. That's a lot. Uh-oh. I didn't bring brushes to deal with this. What is wrong with me? So we'll just do it with fingers. But that adds some depth, so that the rest of the stuff will look better. I'm going to do it on the other side. All right. What I've been doing is putting like the creamy one kind of here. And then the powder all over the lid. It creates just a real pretty look. Unfortunately, it won't all come across, I don't think. Maybe I'll do this again when I have my better lighting set up, hoping it will. So it's subtle, but it creates this kind of gray, together, all of those products create this kind of grayish eye look that's very neutral, but there is some like shimmer sparkle there, without it being like way too much for the daytime. I really like it. I am going to use a little bit of my Ilia on the inner corner, again, just to give you a different, to make it look more multi-dimensional. All right, eyeliner. I have two. They're gel liners. I've got a purple one and a blue one. I think I'm going to go with purple today. And it says this is the gel eyeliner. Eyeliner in gel, made in Germany. And this shade is Devil's Diary. I think it is the same shade as here. It's a pretty typical gel liner. There is a sharpener. I don't really use sharpeners with my gel liners, because I find that they kind of make this like the general shape, and when you use them, they kind of stay in that shape. I don't need it to be super sharp. It's not going to stay sharp. Because it's small, it doesn't get too dull. Anyway. Okay. And then just to put it in the outside half of my eye, I'm not doing great. So as with gel liners and my maturing skin, I can't really do wings very well with gel liners. I have too much skin. It doesn't really glide well. So instead I just do tight line very close to my lashes. This works well for that. I like the color. It's deep enough. Sometimes purples are too like purple. I like to use purple, not necessarily so that it looks a lot like purple, but because instead of brown or black, it makes my eyes look greener. And so I really just kind of want it to like make my lashes look fuller and accent my eyes. So purple works great for that. This, I find that it lasts well. It doesn't transfer to my upper eyelid. Um, but yet it also washes off fairly easily with makeup remover at the end of the day. I have been very pleased with the gel liner. It's not amazing, but it does what it's supposed to do. It's more reasonably priced than a lot of other brands, and you can see it. Drugstore brands that I've tried, I have trouble seeing the colors. Like it's like there's not enough pigment in them in other ones that I've tried. If you know good, reasonably priced eyeliners that I should try, let me know. The one thing that, a couple of things I don't care for with gel liners is you can't really smoke it out. It doesn't really work to do that. But the flip side of that is it does, once it sets down, it doesn't take very long to do that. It stays. And staying is more important to me than smoky. I am still looking for something that I can lay down, make smoky or softer look, and that then sets down. I haven't found that because the things that smoke out well then don't ever really set in and they transfer all over the place. So this does its job of being an eyeliner and staying put. And I appreciate that. And it is reasonably priced and it is a pretty color. It comes in lots of colors. The blue one, I am not as happy with. One, it keeps crumbling on me. Like I just tried to make it and it fell off the top. And that's like, okay, let me try again. This one actually does smoke out pretty well. It is a brighter blue than I want it to be. I wish it was less bright, but good to know. So I didn't buy a mascara from them, so I'm not going to talk about my mascara. I'm just going to put it on, and then I'll come back and do lips. Okay, I lied. I do have another product. I have a brow product. So About Face Eyes Brow Artist Eyebrow Pencil. And I got it in shade 4, F-O-U-R, light brown. So it's probably 1, 2, 3, 4. Light brown. It's got a green spoolie. And then it's one of those, like my ABS one. It's kind of that elongated, you probably can't see, there you go, elongated triangle. I like this. I'll let you see. It goes on kind of a lot, but there is a reason for the spoolie. And with that, I think it looks good. And the color is pretty good too. I think light is hitting this weird, but when I do that, it looks fine. Okay, now it's time for lips. I got a lip liner, and it's a pencil. All right, it's just the lip pencil. And I have shade Midnight Seduction. So here's the, it looks dark, but as you can see, it's not too dark of a color. So it's like a warm mauve brown. It's got some purple and red in it, but it also isn't terribly deep. So it is a lip color. It's not really my lip color, but it is a lip color. So it helps with that whole like giving you kind of an exaggerated pout. It's not a great color with the blush. The blush now looks really kind of blue. And like it's just kind of sitting there. It looks less integrated because this is warmer. But the gloss that I have is more of like a topper gloss. So it's just their lip gloss, and it is in a blue pink with tons of sparkle. So I'm hoping that it will cool this down a little bit and reintegrate the blush into the look. So let's see how that goes. It's a little bit better. So this gloss is very, it reminds me a little bit of the Lifter gloss from Maybelline, in that it's very kind of slidey without being sticky, and without being oily. So it's one of those things that feels really nice when it's on your lips, but it doesn't actually add moisture to them. It doesn't take it away. So as long as you are using, when you're not wearing the gloss, if your lips are in decent condition, this isn't going to make them any worse. But if your lips are dry and cracked, this isn't going to make them better. I don't think it's like a 2-in-1 product, in that it's not a balm or oil or something that is nourishing. It just doesn't make things worse. And it's pretty. It is, I'll put it next to this liner. Very sparkly in a clear base. So most of the color is from that liner. I don't even know if you can see it there. It is very sparkly and clear. And together, it's this. But it adds some coolness to the liner, so then the blush doesn't look so off. There you go. Full about face look. Some of these products I really enjoy and will probably buy in other colors. Others of them, just not really for me. It doesn't mean that they're bad products. They just don't do what I want makeup to do. The biggest misses for me are the foundation and concealer. The color ended up being fine, I think. It just isn't a formula that really works well for my skin. And I've got, I'm 50, so I've got mature skin, and I am not really oily, not really dry. So I just want something that lays well and that doesn't accentuate my fine lines and wrinkles and things. And I feel like this does to some degree. If you don't have a lot of fine lines and wrinkles, it probably would look beautiful on you. It just doesn't work great for me at the place in life that I am at. I feel like things are like hollow looking here and wrinkly. And that distracts from the rest of the makeup. In terms of the color products, I really enjoy both shadows in the sticks. Their eye paints are really great. They're just not in kind of subtle colors that I'm drawn to wearing, and that's why I got these two eye products. I don't know that I'm going to use much of the crayon parts very much at all, but I really like both shadows, and they work really well together. The liner, I'm still learning about it, but I do really like the liners. They work great. I will look at what other colors of those they have. And then the lip liner is a color that I don't have another one that's that color. So I do like the color in that it's a little bit more red, but yet not, it's like subtlety of redness in with brown and then a slight bit of purple to create a color that would be somebody's lips. It's not really mine, but because it is somebody else's lip color, it doesn't look like lip liner. It just makes my lips look better. And then with this gloss, which is super sparkly and fun, but yet wearable. I like those together. So overall, I think the brand is worth checking out, especially if they're having a sale. It's nice because they have it in Ulta. They don't have all of the shades, but you can at least kind of play around with it a little bit. And I'm sure they have it other places too. But, and then if you go to their website, they have far more things than I was able to find on the Ulta website. But about face. Have a great week.